So I almost knocked over the camera in the last one. I've got to learn to be more prepared because I usually tend to come in impromptu. But anyway, point being, um, when I had last week that video about one thing, just one thing. So I was focusing on getting the cabinets done, just, moving things, rearranging things inside. And so I started with one cabinet, and then before I knew it, I was doing like all 4 or 5. I can't remember how many's out there. And so by the time I was actually done with that, and I'm still far from done, but I felt like I had made progress by just focusing on one. And because everything was kind of in close quarters and it was a little bit more orderly, I was able to really see that progress. So continuing with my one thing, I got some boxes and I was able to put in the glassware, and I just need the air pillows and bubble wrap, so I wasn't too worried about that at the time. The idea is to get things and move it to where it needs to go, because I am the type that I will sit there for hours trying to figure out where things go, where they look better, does it make more sense, and then all of a sudden later on I come across another box of things that could go more easily in this spot, so then I have to rearrange. So the thing is, if you start getting things done little by little, you can worry about the details later, but it's about trying to stay in motion, because I will get so overwhelmed in trying to think about where things should go or where they belong better and all that. So, one thing a day, and I've been doing that little by little, just knocking one thing out. And I think that for me, having a list helps me to see what I need to do, because otherwise I just I get very sidetracked. So having that list, having a schedule planner, and the one I have now is it's the one from last year, but it goes up to June or July this year. Denise Albright, that's it. So it's got like little sections here and there. You can break it down weekly, daily, monthly, all those things. So kind of keeping a bullet style journal of everything that I need to do within this month. And then just kind of going forward with that. So I have been trying to hold myself accountable to that. I have been, my one resolution this year, normally I don't make them, but this year I thought, well, if I make something that sounds reasonable, and that is one of the things that I do, that I help with, is to try to bring resolutions down to an easy way to go about it. Make it to where it's palatable, where it's bite-sized pieces, where you don't feel overwhelmed. And sometimes that starts with mindset over action, because if we jump right into something, I'll go all in 100%, and 3 days later I exhaust myself. So this is about looking at it as more of a marathon. You prepare for a marathon. You don't just go into it and run it the first time. You prepare, you get the right kind of shoes, you get into the mindset. And anything that we do, marathon's a perfect example. If you're buying the right shoes, you're buying the little elbow things and all of the gear that goes along with running. That is getting into the mindset. And really, when it comes to metaphysics, I think that that's a large part of it, manifesting and all that kind of stuff too. Because when we get into creating an environment that kind of, reflects what it is that we're working toward, then we come to it with a more seriousness, where we know we're in it for the long haul, not that we're just going to go into it and just like, be kind of one of those fly-by-night hobbies. And that's another thing that I have a habit of. Either I go into something completely 100%, or I, just kind of get into it and then just drop it really quickly. Which is kind of the same thing, but it's a different vibe to it. Some things I just don't take nearly as seriously as others, and some things remain basically in talking about it, and I don't actually put in the effort. So that's another thing. So I do help with all of those things when it comes to my workshops and sessions and things like that. Accountability is kind of what it comes down to. So if I'm bringing something here in this group, chances are I am working on it myself, or I'm doing it, or I've learned by trial and error what works for me. I've never truly been diagnosed with ADHD, but I very much have the symptoms. I have the personality, all of those things. So in some of those things that are said to work for ADHD, I can apply them to myself. So, there's little things that really for me have been life-changing, also with being a little bit OCD. So that's where writing things down helps. Honestly, I haven't really read too in-depth about ADHD. I've read up other things just, because I enjoy that stuff. But things that I have seen, it was like, oh, I've been kind of implementing that already, and it works. I think that there is something to be said of self-awareness and understanding where we're coming from. I used to really beat myself up for that a lot too, like, just being all over the place, not being able to focus on what I'm saying, and, just, coming off as awkward. And there just came this point where I'm like, but that's me. That's just the way I am. Nobody would expect anything other than that from me. And the more that I talk to people, it's like we all have those things that we feel that we're awkward. And the most, put together people always say, oh, I feel like I'm socially awkward. And I'm thinking, I never would have thought. They don't seem like that to me. But I think that we're so much harsher on ourselves. But anyway, going back to that, it comes down to accepting and acknowledging that this is the way I am, and this is the way I need to basically to treat myself with a little bit of patience and things like that, or and telling other people around me. I try to tell them, and I don't think that they understand, but I try to tell them, you have to tell me if you're doing something, because I will not notice. And we hear this all the time when people say, well, you saw me doing this and you didn't say anything. No, I didn't. And I think that that's common, where, we're told, you watched me, doing all this, and all of a sudden now you're, trying to help when I'm done, or, things like that. I tell people you have to be very direct with me. I know my personality, and I know that's the way it is. So if I let somebody know that, and they're not, letting me know in the way that resonates with my own personality, then I really don't know what to do there. But at least I'm, acknowledging it and telling people it's not that I'm ignoring you. And that goes into trying to do things for ourselves as well, knowing what works for us. Maybe for some it's writing things down, and for me that has been a lifesaver. Bullet journaling. That really is one of the things that kind of just really kind of helps me to put things into perspective, to where I can actually see it laid out, and I'm not freaking out that I need to do this, and this. Because some things, it's like, even if it's a week away or a month away, I'll be panicking that I'm going to miss an appointment, or that I'm going to overlook something or forget about something. So it helps a lot. But anyway, going back to the one thing, just start with one box, one something. Kind of divide it up into, your miscellaneous pile, or, I need to stop talking with my hands or I'm going to knock my camera over again. But it's the Italian in me. But, just kind of getting a start. And I think that that's the main thing. If we can get a start somewhere, we start to feel a little bit more empowered. Like, okay, this wasn't so bad. And I think that with organizing and with doing anything, if we start to feel a little more empowered, we start to see the progress. And I think that learning that for myself, learning what works for me, staying in motion, and not necessarily till something's done, finding that stopping point so that I'm not in there till 3 a.m., but just feeling like you're making some progress. And then that helps to alleviate that overwhelmed feeling, because I'm the type that I will sit there and I will look at everything that needs to be done, and I won't know where to begin. So the trick is get in there and just start on one thing. And then, you know, see how far you go before the week is over, before the month is over, and so on and so forth. You're going to see progress. And anyway, that's it. Happy Valentine's Day. Hope y'all have a good one, and stay safe if you're in Texas or anywhere else that's snowing and icy and rainy. And I think that's it. Have a good one.